My fiance's bachelorette party ended our engagement in the most brutal way possible. So I disappeared before the wedding, and what followed left everyone stunned. Before we jump in, tap that subscribe button, drop a like, share this video around, and tell me what you think in the comments. Every bit of support gets us closer to that 1,000 subscriber goal. Let's reach it together. I'm 32, she's 29, and we'd been together for 5 years, living together for most of them. I thought we were solid. 2 weeks before the wedding, Julia flew to Miami with 7 of her friends. I wasn't worried. We trusted each other completely. I figured it'd be the usual drinks, clubs, maybe a male stripper. I even dropped her at the airport, kissed her goodbye, and told her to have fun. While she was gone, I handled last minute wedding details, hung out with friends, and picked up my tux. She kept texting. Updates. Miss you. Messages. All normal. She came home looking tired but happy, saying the trip was amazing, but she was glad to be back. 3 days before the wedding, I got a text from an unknown number. You should see what your fiancée did in Miami. She's not who you think. There was a video attached. I almost deleted it, thinking it was spam, but I opened it. It was her, Julia, in a hotel room with 2 men. She wasn't drunk. She was fully engaged, laughing, encouraging them, even looking at the camera and saying, "What happens in Miami stays in Miami, right?" The clip lasted 3 minutes and 42 seconds, but it destroyed everything I thought I had. I didn't confront her. I couldn't. I slept in the spare room, claiming I wasn't feeling well. The next morning, while she was at her dress fitting, I called my best man and showed him the video. He was as shocked as I was. When he asked what I'd do, I told him plainly there would be no wedding. That Thursday, while she was out with her mom, I packed my essentials, left the ring and a note. I know what happened in Miami. The wedding is off. Then I moved into my friend's place and turned off my phone. When I switched it back on, what should have been our wedding morning, there were dozens of missed calls and texts from her, her family, and mutual friends. Messages went from confused to panicked to begging to angry. She admitted what she did, claiming it was a mistake and didn't mean anything. Her parents called, first furious at me, then quiet when they heard the truth. I sent one mass text to our guests announcing the cancellation, then told Julia directly there was nothing to discuss. It was over. A week later, I'd found a new apartment and started untangling our lives. She still tried to contact me, swearing she was drunk, that it was peer pressure. But I'd seen the video. She knew exactly what she was doing. Her cousin called to say Julia was a wreck, barely eating, crying constantly. I said no. Maybe I could have confronted her, face to face. But I couldn't stand at that altar and vow loyalty to someone who'd already betrayed me. Some people think I was harsh walking away like that, but how do you rebuild trust after this? The pain, the humiliation, it was crushing. 2 weeks later, I learned who sent the video. It was the girlfriend of one of the men in that room. He'd bragged about it. She found it on his phone, figured out who Julia was, and sent it to me. Julia eventually showed up at my new place, crying and begging to explain. I let her in to avoid a public scene. She claimed she was drunk, that it was just physical and meant nothing. Then she admitted she'd met the men the night before, spent the weekend with them, even made out with one the previous night. So it wasn't a spur of the moment thing. It was planned, repeated. Some bridesmaids even filmed it. When I said that out loud, she defended herself. It's normal to have a final fling before marriage. That's when I lost it. Normal? You think betraying the person you claim to love is normal? She cried harder, saying I was cruel, that if I really loved her, I'd forgive her. I laughed. If you really loved me, you wouldn't have done it at all. She left, but before she walked out, she said something that chilled me. You'll regret throwing away everything we built over one mistake. It didn't sound like remorse, it sounded like a warning. Now she's spinning a story that I was controlling and emotionally abusive. Total lies. She's painting herself as the victim, claiming I abandoned her without a chance to explain, and that I'm punishing her for one mistake. Some of our mutual friends are actually taking her side. The money situation is a mess. We're clashing over wedding costs. Her parents paid most of the deposits, but the final payments, due the week before, came from our joint account. She's demanding I pay her half back because I'm the one who canceled. I told her no. I'm not paying for a wedding that never happened because she cheated. I spoke to a lawyer about the finances and the house we were in the process of buying. Thankfully, the sale hadn't closed yet. We were supposed to sign after the honeymoon. My lawyer says I'm safe legally since we weren't married, but it's still stressful. One upside, I know who my real friends are. Tony and a few others have stood by me completely while some are swallowing her lies or suggesting I forgive her. Not happening. The hardest part is the emotional swings. One moment I'm furious, the next I'm crushed. Sleep is terrible. Work is hard to focus on. I started therapy. It helps. But sometimes the images from that video slam back into my mind and I feel sick. People have asked if I'd release the video to prove my side. Absolutely not. As much as she hurt me, I won't stoop to that. Plus, I never want to see it again. For now, I'm focused on myself, working out, spending time with supportive friends, and blocking her on everything. I've told mutual friends I don't want updates about her. Maybe the pain will never fully disappear, but at least I know who she really was before I said I do. 1 month later, things escalated in ways I couldn't imagine. Julia had a complete breakdown, was briefly hospitalized for what her sister called severe depression and anxiety. Her family blames me, saying I pushed her there by refusing reconciliation. They've been bombarding me with calls and messages, calling me heartless. I feel bad for her struggle, but I didn't cause this. She did. And here's the wild part. One of those Miami guys is married. His wife found out, maybe from the video, maybe another way, and is divorcing him. In her anger, she somehow got my number and called. We spoke for almost 2 hours, processing our betrayals. There's a strange bond when two people go through the exact same kind of pain at the same time. We're meeting for coffee soon. Not a date, just two people helping each other survive something awful. The money drama hasn't stopped. Julia's father stormed into my office, shouting for me to take responsibility for the wedding costs. Security had to escort him out. My boss was understanding, but it was humiliating. I've hired a lawyer to handle it all. We had $31,000 in our joint account for the wedding, honeymoon, and house. When I left, I took half despite contributing more. Now she claims I stole from her. The lawyer says I'm fine legally, but it's still a headache. Socially, it's chaos. Her bridesmaids have been pushing a twisted version where I'm some monster who abandoned her over one drunken kiss. They leave out the threesome. When I tell people the truth, they accuse me of shaming her and say bachelorette parties are meant to be wild. Some believe them. I've lost friends over this, people who think I should be the bigger person and forgive. The worst was her cousin, yes, the same cousin who told me about the video, posting online about how devastated Julia is and how I threw away a beautiful relationship over one mistake instead of working through it like a real man. That mistake was sleeping with two men on camera a week before our wedding. But apparently, I'm the villain for having self respect. On the brighter side, I've been healing. Therapy is helping. I'm working out, reconnecting with old friends, and planning a solo trip, 2 weeks hiking in Colorado to clear my head. I've been packing up her things, which she still hasn't collected. Every item, a sweater, a book, her favorite coffee mug, feels like a small stab. 5 years together. Not every moment was bad, and that's what makes this sting even more. The person I loved never truly existed. A friend said maybe I dodged a bullet, that if she did this before marriage, she'd likely have done it after. They're probably right, but that doesn't make it hurt less. Keep wondering if there were signs I missed. I can't think of any. She seemed as committed as I was. Some ask if I regret leaving instead of confronting her. I don't. Those first days after seeing the video, I was in shock. I couldn't have had a calm conversation. Walking away gave me the clarity I needed. Now, I take it day by day. Some mornings I wake up and forget for a second what happened, until the memory crashes in. It's getting easier slowly. Hopefully, this chapter is closing. 3 months later, I wasn't planning on updating, but after everything, I need to. First, coffee with the other guy's wife, Valerie. We met several times. There's a definite connection, but we both know it's probably trauma bonding rather than anything real. We agreed to keep things strictly platonic, at least for now. Both of us are still unpacking our own heartbreaks, and rushing into anything would only tangle the healing process. Still, it's been a relief having someone who genuinely gets what I'm going through. Then came the shocker. Julia's pregnant. She turned up at my place last week, visibly showing, claiming the baby's mine. She says she's about 4 months along, which would put conception right around her bachelorette party. My first thought, one of the Miami guys, but she insists we were together the night before she left and that the timing lines up with me, not them. Honestly, I can't even remember. Those days were a blur of last-minute wedding chaos. I told her I'd need a paternity test as soon as it was safe. She flipped, accusing me of adding insult to injury by even questioning it. But I stood firm. Given her track record, I'm not taking anyone's word for it. The news ripped open wounds I thought were healing. The idea of being tied to her forever because of a child is overwhelming. I've always wanted kids, but not like this, not with someone I can't trust. Still, if it is mine, I want to be there. I won't have my child grow up thinking their father walked away. Julia, however, seems convinced the pregnancy changes everything. She even suggested we give it another try for the baby's sake. I told her point blank, never happening. The relationship is over, test results or not. Naturally, her family started hounding me again, calling me a deadbeat before the baby's even here. They conveniently ignore that I've said I'll take responsibility if it's mine. I just want proof. On the upside, the financial battles are finally over. We settled, neither side thrilled, but at least it's done. I paid more than I wanted, less than she demanded. The house deal collapsed, which was for the best. I've since moved into a new apartment I actually prefer. Socially, the smear campaign limps on, but fewer people are buying it. Some friends who took her side at first have reached out to apologize after hearing what really happened from others at the bachelorette party. Even Lexi, one of her bridesmaids, called to say, sorry. Turns out she was the one who filmed the video. She admitted there was heavy drug use that weekend and that things spiraled. She also dropped another bomb. This wasn't Julia's first time cheating. Apparently, there'd been a fling with a coworker 2 years ago, covered up by her friends. Hearing that stung, but it also validated my decision. This wasn't one drunken mistake, it was a pattern. Since then, I've been focusing on myself. Therapy's helping. Colorado was exactly the escape I needed, and I've even dipped a toe into casual dating. But the uncertainty about the baby hangs over everything. If it's mine, everything changes. If it's not, I'll feel relief and maybe a little sadness for what could have been. Months later, the paternity results came back, not mine. I wasn't surprised, but it was still a strange mix of relief and loss. Julia broke down when she heard, admitting she'd been hoping the baby was mine, clinging to the fantasy it might bring us back together. She even confessed she'd suspected otherwise, but couldn't bear to face it. That's when I confronted her about Lexi's confession. At first, she denied the earlier cheating, then finally admitted it, plus another hookup a year into our relationship. So, at minimum, she'd cheated 3 times that I know of. Who knows the real number? Ironically, if she'd told me the truth back then, maybe we could have worked through it. But years of deception followed by the ultimate betrayal sealed it. There's no trust left to salvage. As for the baby's actual father, Julia reached out to both Miami guys. One blocked her. The other, the married one, wants nothing to do with the child. His soon-to-be ex-wife, Valerie, filled me in. He's spinning excuses, but no one's buying it. Now Julia's staring down single motherhood, abandoned by both potential fathers, with a family that once blamed me now scrambling to pick up the pieces. Her father, who once stormed my office demanding I take responsibility, can't even meet my eyes anymore. Julia's social downfall has been brutal. As the truth came to light, many friends drifted away. Her career took a hit too. Extended leave for mental health struggles, complications during the pregnancy, and now I've heard she's been passed over for a promotion she was once guaranteed. Some people think I should feel vindicated. I don't. What I feel is sadness. Sad for the years I invested in someone who could betray me so deeply. Sad for the future we had planned that will never come. Sad for a child born into such a tangled mess. But above all, I feel relief. Relief that I learned the truth before marriage. Relief that I'm not forever tied to her through a child. Relief that I can finally close this chapter without her shadow following me. As for me, life's good. My new apartment feels like home. Work's going well. I even got promoted last month. I've been reconnecting with old friends, meeting new ones, and yes, I've started seeing someone. Nothing too serious yet, but it's promising. She knows my past and understands why I'm taking things slow. Therapy is helping too. I've worked through most of the trust issues that came from Julia's betrayal, and I refuse to let her define my future relationships. The financial and legal matters are completely done. The bills weren't small, but the peace of mind was worth every cent. Julia picked up the last of her belongings last week. Now there's nothing tying us together. Valerie and I still meet from time to time, and we've built a genuine friendship from our shared experience. She's dating someone new, and we even laugh sometimes about how our exes indirectly introduced us. This is where I thought the story would end. Julia made her choices and is living with the consequences. I've made peace with it, and am focused on building my own life. Funny thing is, I'm grateful for that anonymous text with the video. Without it, I might be married to her right now, maybe even raising another man's child. Instead, I'm free to find real happiness with someone I can trust. For anyone going through something similar, it does get better. The pain fades, life moves forward, and sometimes the worst betrayal leads to the most unexpected fresh start. Final update. 1 year later, life's been great. That promotion came with a big raise, and I've used it to travel. Japan, Portugal, even a month working remotely from Argentina. Each trip has been healing in ways I didn't expect. The woman I mentioned before, her name's Melissa. Things got serious faster than planned, but she's everything Julia wasn't. Honest, supportive, straightforward. We've been together 8 months now, and I've never felt more secure in a relationship. She knows my whole story and has been patient with the trust issues I'm still working through. I hadn't had any direct contact with Julia for months. I knew she'd had the baby, a boy, and was struggling. Eventually, one of the Miami guys took a paternity test and turned out to be the father, but he's only giving the bare minimum in court-ordered support. Then last week, I ran into her at a coffee shop. I almost didn't recognize her. Thinner, tired, hair cut short. The vibrant woman I'd loved was gone, replaced by someone weighed down by life. She saw me first and asked if we can talk. Against my better judgment, I agreed. She looked me in the eye and said, "I'm sorry. Not just for what I did, but for how I handled it after. You deserve better. I was selfish, stupid, and I destroyed the best thing I had." She didn't make excuses, didn't blame anyone else, just owned her actions. She told me about her struggles, her therapy, the judgment she still faces, and the regret she carries every day. I didn't say much. The anger had faded long ago, replaced by indifference and a quiet sadness. I told her I appreciated the apology and wished her well. As I stood to leave, she asked, "Are you happy?" I thought about Melissa, my travels, my work, the friends I'd made. "Yes," I said, "I am." She smiled sadly. "Good. You deserve to be." That 5-minute talk gave me more closure than all my therapy sessions combined. not because I needed her apology, but because it was powerful to hear her fully acknowledge what she'd done. Walking away, I realized there's no anger, no resentment, no pity, just acceptance. People make choices that change their lives forever. All we can do is adapt and move forward. 2 nights ago, sitting on a balcony watching the sunset with Melissa, I realized I'm actually grateful for what happened. Not because Julia deserved the fallout, but because that pain set me free to build a life I truly love. So that's it, the final chapter. For those who followed along, thank you. And for anyone still in the middle of their own storm, hold on. The pain passes, and sometimes what's waiting on the other side is better than anything you lost. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.